Welcome to the Landscaping Podcast. My name is Joel Barnett and I'm your host. And today's episode is a chance of being the world's shortest episode that I've done. The shortest so far is 8 minutes and 2 seconds. This episode is going to be a Q&A episode, and I had a grand total of three questions come in. So we'll see how we go. There actually is a couple of good quality questions, so might get me chatting a bit, but it's a nice short one, and then I've got a lot of appointments booked for next week and the 2 weeks after as well. So there'll be plenty more normal episodes coming soon with some pretty awesome guests as well. First question is from millysgardening.nz, and she said, "Who would you love to have for a barbecue and beers? Could be anyone in the world, living or afterlife." So usually I don't have much of a think about the questions, but I did have sit down and have a think about this one. And I've come up with Shane Warne, Roy Keane, and Adam Sandler. So she didn't say three, but that's kind of the standard answer. And on top of those three, I would also have my group of mates to come along. So, um, yeah, Warney is one of like I was lucky to be growing up loving cricket at the time that he was dominating. Every time he bowled a ball, you'd think it could be a wicket, and also seems like a bit of fun to hang around. And is a St Kilda supporter as well, so plenty to talk about with him. I was following Manchester United back in the day with my mates back when they won the treble in the 2000s or late 90s. Um, so yeah, I was watching Roy Keane then, but I've started watching him on like his Sky punditry, so doing commentary on games and podcasts. And he's just a straight shooter, extremely dry sense of humour. So he seems like a lot of fun to have around as well. Him and Warney would probably get along because he would know a bit about cricket. Don't know if Warney knows anything about Premier League, but and the third one, Adam Sandler, again, just seems like an awesome person. Good for laughs as well. Um, and then my mates would come along because, like, I've had this group of mates where we went to high school together and a few of us primary school as well. But we don't catch up all that often. But when we do, I just absolutely love it. So yeah, that they would be right up there on that list. I'd love to hang out with, and again, two of them were the biggest United fans back in the day as well. So, and we all liked cricket, so that'd be a good bunch. That'd be an enjoyable day to have that one. I might even have a beer on that occasion too. And next question is from Andy Rosethorn saying, "Who's your favourite guest on the podcast, and why is it Graham Rowe?" Even though he has been on twice, I don't think I would say he's my favourite guest. And I don't have to have any apologies for that because I don't think he listens because he's too busy. Not a big podcaster, I don't think. But I would say the favorite episode I felt like the best I felt after doing an episode was real early on when I had Matt Heiner on from Heiner Outdoors. So his Instagram handle is the Yardist. So he does a lot of fancy water features. He's just done a home show build this week. So they were working, like I think they built it in 4 days just for the weekend. And yeah, they were working 14 or 16-hour days. So and it's an insane garden as well. So, but what I loved about chatting with him was just more his business mind. So yeah, he had ideas of what he was going to do with his yard. He was going to open a shop at his yard and sell products out of there as well as doing the landscaping. And yeah, I just remember coming out of that episode, and my wife was home at the time, and I said how awesome that was. So, and that's one of the things I love about doing the podcast. Like the organisation and editing and everything is not enjoyable, but actually talking to people about what they're passionate about, and I'm also passionate about, is what I love about doing it. So, and that was yeah one of the real early episodes. So I scroll back. It was episode 58, so it was in the second year in July 2022. But yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes that I've done. And when I talk to people about like people who are coming on, like if they ask for an episode to listen to get an idea on what the podcast is about, the episode that I recommend that they listen to is the one with Emmeline Bowman, just because the way she answered the questions I hadn't noticed anyone doing before, where she was answering the question to me, but also to like talking to me as well as talking to the audience. that was just a very impressive way that she went about doing that. So that was one that impressed me as well. And last question is from Dan at Nature Build Insta. Do you think there is a worthwhile landscape business coaching program? I think that there's questions that come through which I'm not the best person to answer, but I'll do it anyway. But I reckon because I haven't had a business coach or use a business coaching program, I'm not the best person to answer. You're better off talking to someone who has used it. But I have spoken to Adam Hompus just last week. He said that he's used the Landscapers Coach and raised about the change that he's made to his business. I've spoken to other people who have used landscaping coaches in the past and said that they're useless. So it's one of the things I've always been worried about. Coaching is not only having someone who knows how to get you where you want to go, but they need to understand where you want to go. And I don't think that every client is right for every business coach, but I doubt that there's many that turn clients away. They'll just say, yeah, and then they'll sort of make it up as they go. I know that Cam from Abercam Horticulture has been using Paul Hamilton. I think he's a bit more of a life coach rather than the business side of things, but probably does a bit of business as well because he ran a pretty successful company and he built up a lot of staff and then dialed it back to less as well. So he's got a lot of good experience that he could share. So without question, I would say there is worthwhile coaches out there. The tricky part is finding the right one, and whether that's finding someone who works in the industry that you're in or has experience in doing what you do, or whether they've got like you might want to, like for example, if a person is wanting to expand their business, have multiple crews, then there might be a specific coach who is good at upscaling to do that. So it's a like when someone's getting a landscape design, it's important for the client to find the right designer and the designer to find the right client. So it goes both ways, needing to gel together. So definitely, yes, there is a worthwhile business coaching program, but I certainly can't specify which one that is for which person. Oh, that was it. Last question. So thank you very much for everyone who tuned in for this short episode, and we'll have a normal episode up again next week.